With TJ and Plaideau.
I'm TJ.
And as always, I'm Plaideau.
Welcome back to NOLA Film Scene. Brian and I have been pretty busy of late. We've interviewed quite a few guests. We've been doing some editing, and we've got some really interesting episodes in store. Just today, we dropped a really fun episode with Larry Kinney, the voice of Lion-O from Thundercats. That was a cartoon I grew up watching. It was Thundercats, G.I. Joe, and there were about four. I'd get home from school and have to do homework real quick, and then we'd jump on the afternoon cartoons, and Thundercats was always in the lineup.
Yep, throw Transformers in there.
Oh, that's right. Yep, Transformers.
And were you a He-Man fan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
All the boy stuff.
For sure. Yeah. Talking to Larry was really cool. Just hearing his stories and hearing him do some of the voices, iconic voices that we were used to hearing growing up.
Yep.
He was the voice of Count Chocula from commercials. He was the voice of Sonny the Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs Bird. He was just really funny talking to him in person.
Totally. I love it, especially in the voice acting community. Voice acting and improv, you find some very cool people. Now, we've met a lot of actors that are great, but sometimes because people are fighting to get on screen, those people are more cutthroat. That's what I hear. I haven't had that experience because in this market, it's us, it's Hick, it's all our people, all our friends, and we're all trying to lift each other up. So
that's true.
I love when you meet your heroes and they are heroes like Larry. I won't say a couple times in Comic-Cons with photo ops, it might not have been the best experience. Hey, how you doing? Take the picture. Thanks for your money. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell. You can tell when you walk up to them, they're tired. There were a group of actors and a retired Major League Baseball player doing a USO tour when I was on deployment. They came through and a group of us got to go into one of the tents and meet them. And they were nice in person, but you could tell they were tired. I remember what it was like getting off that plane and being jet lagged and then having to step into that heat and you're just not adjusted to it. Even being tired, they were personable, but not to press those boundaries.
Yeah. I went to Mad Monster Party Gras here in New Orleans in like 2011, 2012. And one of the guests was Roddy Piper. I really wanted to meet him. That was one of my main goals. But on Friday, he had flown in, and this was right after his cancer scare. I say scare, he actually had to fight it. And then he went up and went to sleep by the time I got there. I think I got there at 6 and they opened the doors at 4. And the people running it was like, oh, we'll go wake him up. I was like, you will not go wake that man up. Are you out of your mind? So I saw him, I think on Sunday. My wife didn't go that day, so I didn't have my camera person. I had my They Live t-shirt. I had my sunglasses, and I brought bubble gum to make sure he had enough bubble gum he wouldn't kick anybody's ass. The picture's out of focus. Because the guy in line took it, and this was pre-camera phones. This was the age of flip phones. You know what I mean? So I'm still glad that I didn't bug the guy. Then he signed a They Live poster, even though I'm more pictures than photo ops, but that was part of the deal. Great, super nice guy. You can't get any better than Roddy Piper.
Yeah. So in our very first episode, we talked about both being wrestling fans when we were growing up. And I kind of forgot about some of these stories, but when I was in San Diego, I did security and we did big events, football games, rock concerts, wrestling events, you name it. We did that sort of thing. And I was backstage for a WCW event.
Yeah.
I guess that was right about the time it was still WWF before it became WWE.
Yeah.
So the big rival was WCW. And backstage, I was just mere feet away from Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah.
And they did their scene. They had all the lights and, the producers were all back there and they're standing back there and they were doing one of the rivalry arguments. And then one of them got slammed or whatever. And then when they cut, they helped each other up and they walked off arm in arm. And I'm like, And that was before I really understood all the ins and outs about what wrestling was. And seeing those guys in person was really cool. And they were all so nice. We weren't supposed to talk to them and engage with them, but they would say hello and they would be polite. And I thought it was really cool because on camera, on TV, they play a bad guy, but off camera, they were very personable.
Right. It's like if you work background in a TV movie, don't bug the stars, but if they say hello, you're allowed to talk to them like a human being. And the other thing, it's not a scene, it's cutting a promo.
Right.
When they do that backstage clip part, it's not doing a scene.
Fair enough.
Cool. So, folks, like TJ said, we've been extremely busy these past couple months, and we did a 48-hour film, and we did a 7-in-7 film for the Abita Springs International Film Festival.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Let me just throw that out there. I've got to throw a big congratulations Brian's way. I know he's trying to tell a story and talk about the 2 films that we just shot, but I need to throw this congratulations out there. Brian was nominated for Best Actor and won. And I can't wait for people to see this film because you did a phenomenal job. You really did. And it was such a fun film to make. We had a bunch of our friends there. We had 7 days to make it. If you want to talk about how the 48 and the 7-in-7 works for people that aren't aware of it, we can do that. You were also nominated for Best Supporting Actor for the 48. So now that I've stolen your thunder a little bit, go ahead.
Not stealing my thunder. Thank you very much. And I'll throw some thunder back your way because you were also nominated for the 48-hour film project for Best Supporting Actor. We had a fight against each other, and we both lost to this guy, Michael
Darden, for the movie My Mug.
He was a very good actor. I liked his performance in that one because he never pushed, he never tried to show an emotion, and his character was very low-key, and he stuck with it. Not saying anything bad about either one of our performances, but also leading up to it, we were teasing each other like, oh, they trying to split up NOLA film scene. They trying to get us, man. Yep.
And he did a great job. So, Michael, we didn't get a chance to meet. Don't know if you will ever even listen to this, but if you do, congratulations.
Congratulations. And I was pulling for you, actually.
Oh, thank you.
Because in our 48-hour film, I'll pat myself on the back. I came up with the title, Waiting for Ghetto, because we had to use a name. Let me back up again. So 48-hour film is a competition. You enter your team, you can assemble your equipment, but you don't know what you're going to do. So on Friday, you pick 2 genres out of a hat. We got mockumentary and inspirational, but there were things like music video, Western, sci-fi, social media.
Social media influencer.
Social media influencer. You just don't know what you're going to get. And then you're given a line, a prop, and a character name / occupation you have to use. Everybody has to use those things the same. And it was Jake or Jade Gateau. The line was, how did you find it? And the prop was a coffee cup. One of our members, Jana McCaffrey, is a lawyer in real life, and she let us use her office as a home base. Because one of the things with the 48, you really don't want to be running around doing all kind of different sets. You want to maximize your time. So when we got mockumentary and we were already in an office, I was like, let's not go anywhere. So a lot of people are like, oh, you copied The Office. We didn't. But as Jana's husband said when she was worried about it, The Office copied The Office. So it doesn't matter. And, Spinal Tap was before that. So it wasn't like we're going to do, what would Michael say? And TJ got the best reactions when people were watching it.
Oh, thank you.
And I don't know how to describe it, but we were both caught by the camera. And when we looked and just froze, the audience fell out. When you looked at Matt, because this one we can share with you, but one of the office mates, Matt Carroll, who was also the writer and director, his character was over the top, brown noser. And then he's like, see you later, guys. Hasta mañana, Taco Tuesday. And we look at him like he's crazy. The audience they cracked up for you. So I was like, TJ should win on the 7-in-7 competition instead of being 2 days. Oh, and I still didn't describe the 48. Friday, you find out what it is. Then you write it, film it, edit it, and turn it in by Sunday night. So it's a monster. You're not going to sleep much that weekend. And we kind of talked about it with Larry. We didn't win, but we had a lot of crowd response. I didn't hear anyone say that it was bad.
Yeah.
And you can run into technical problems on that 48 while you're hustling. Like a friend of ours, their sound dropped out. Their equipment failed. So many things can go wrong because you're fighting that time.
Yeah. And there's not a whole lot of time for pickups when you've only got 48 to do everything.
Yeah, that's how I described it in Larry's episode. I'm just so happy. I'm going to say it. We made a piece of art.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm hesitant to say that. I don't want to sound too pompous, any more pompous than I usually am. But I felt so proud of that. I'll share that with people in our premieres, in our award ceremonies. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The Abita Springs International Film Festival has a competition within it called the 7-in-7. You have 7 days to make a 7-minute film. And again, I forgot about the 48-hour film. That's also a 7-minute film. You can only do 4 minutes minimum to 7 minutes maximum. Abita, the 7-in-7 is 5 minutes minimum, 7 maximum.
And that's only the film. It's not pre-roll and it's not post-credits.
Right. Just your content. You got to keep that tight story. There are a lot of rules to it. Their thing, they want to bring people to Abita Springs. So you're given a location. And we got a place called the Pavilion. And then we were able to pick our own genre. So we picked Western. We were given the line, there must be something in the water. And the prop was a toothbrush. And then it was just make your movie. We all assembled our cowboy gear and going as authentic as we could. Our friend Hick Jeremy was in it, and he had done some Westerns, independent movies. So he already had those kind of costume pieces and just added a hat. Once we made the decision, I got myself a duster. I already had the cowboy boots. I did get a new hat also, and we all went as authentic as we could. And you kind of got to mask it. If you had a vest, you didn't have to have the perfect shirt, yada, yada, yada. Oh, and TJ, I thought about it later. We didn't have spurs.
That's true.
Or even the sound effects. I was like, oh, when I heard that in a different movie, I was like, why didn't we think of that? TJ knew of people they had a ranch. So we were actually riding horses and I didn't fall off, thank God.
Very glad that none of us fell off.
Yes, thank you. And we did a scene like we were transporting the prisoner and they filmed us going away from the camera. And when we turned, my horse saw the gate and said, I don't care. And she, giddy up. Yeah, I was like, calm down. And then it was July in the New Orleans area. I cannot describe to you the heat and humidity.
Yeah.
If you haven't been here. So we are in canvas pants and I'm in that duster. We were sweating bullets.
Wool cowboy hats.
Yeah. And TJ, if I didn't say it before this, thank you so much for the compliment.
Yeah, of course.
So there are moments when I feel like an actor and then even sometimes like an artist where you hit exactly what you want to do. And there was a gunfight scene. Now, my character was not the brave sheriff. I was a sheriff, but I wasn't the brave gunfighter. I was kind of a goofball, scared to be in that fight, not used to it, kind of a wannabe. So I was turning in the bad guy I was claiming the bounty. I had taken off my gloves because the gloves would not fit into my gun. It's a prop gun. And the bad guy hands me this little pouch for the money. And then the gunfight starts. And so my scene, the camera's on me for close-ups, and Hick Jeremy points his prop gun. Now, there's no ammo involved. You can't even load the gun. But Hick has this stare. And that kind of scared me just looking at him, I'll tell you that. But imagine having all this stuff in my left hand, the gun's in my right, because I had to kind of pull it out like, oh, no, I'm in a gunfight. Even the prop, you had to cock the hammer each time before you shot. As I'm doing this, I'm looking at Hick and I'm picturing bullets going past me like it was a real thing. And in my mind, I actually heard them. I felt the breeze of the bullet. I was that much into the moment. It was amazing. I was able to cock the hammer twice. The third time, I couldn't make my thumb work. And I'm thinking, I'm about to get shot. I'm out in the open. They're going to kill me. And I reach over with all the stuff in my hand. I cock and I pull up. And there's this look on my face, which you've seen in the stills we've shared. It's so stupid looking. But I didn't try to make a face is what I'm saying. And that moment was probably the pinnacle of my acting career so far.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. I do also want to say, in addition to Brian winning, the film won 3 other awards. We won Best Editing, we won Best Film, which was the overall film, and Best Directing. And others were also nominated. Hick was nominated. Alicia Liu was also nominated for Best Acting. I think 11 nominations total that film received at the Abita Springs International Film Festival. I'm pretty proud of what we turned out with that project. It was really fun to make. It was almost over before it started. I know we had 7 days to make it, but once we got to set and got rolling and got working on it, the whole time just kind of flew by for me. And same thing with the 48. It flew by, and such a positive experience. That's my first time doing a 48. And it was also my first time doing this 7 and 7. And I couldn't think of a better team that I would want to work with for either one of them. I'm grateful to everybody that we worked with on those 2 projects.
Oh, yeah. And we have to give a big shout out to Matt. He wrote both of those in the first night of each competition. And there's a little improving, but it was on the paper. He's really good at that. And then Jonathan Boots Sigler, Boots being his nickname, kind of apropos for our Western. He had the equipment. He does that part for a living. So we had a fantastic camera and equipment. And when he edits, I saw it on the 48. His hands move like Beethoven on the piano.
Yeah.
We edited for 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and it was due on Wednesday night. And it was hard. We actually have more footage. We had to bring it down to a 7, and hopefully we're going to be sending it out to other film festivals. That's the plan. But when the crunch started happening, just watching him go, it was amazing. Really talented. It's so great to be around talented people, talented actors like you. Hick, I've admired Hick for years, and to compete against him, I didn't even know they were doing the awards that night. With the 48, we had a premiere, they had another showing, and then they had their awards.
Yeah.
This was premiere. I didn't end up going. I was wiped out after all the filming and my work and heat and classes. And so my phone, falling asleep on a Friday night, and it starts lighting up. Congratulations, you won, congrats. Like, what are you talking about? They did the what? I couldn't sleep for a few hours, but it's a nice way to go to sleep.
Yeah, for sure. So it is comic book convention season, and there are some conventions that are going on right now. Brian is a big convention goer, and he recently got to meet a pretty big star at one of the conventions, got to interview him. So Brian will tell us about that, and we'll share a little bit of that here.
Yes, a while back for Fan Expo New Orleans, because of this podcast, I was able to get some press passes. And I talked to a few people. I love talking to the voice actors. I talked to an amazing star, Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
Such a great guy, so down to earth. When I talk to people, I try to throw out a little bit about myself so then I'm not just somebody running around with a microphone. But I tend to go overboard talking about myself. And at one point, Danny even said, "Who's interviewing who? I think I'm interviewing you." And he was still gracious enough. And we'd like to share that with you now.
Hey, I'm here with Danny Trejo. My name is Brian Plaideau, NOLA Film Scene Podcast. We have a few
Brian, I'm Danny.
Yeah, don't get us confused. My last name is Plaideau, just like the play, but it's French.
Awesome.
My first movie, working background, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Loved it.
Yeah, and then I went on. I was in Bill and Ted Face the Music. I was Death's photo double.
Cool.
And I was at the Clerks brief premiere. I didn't get to talk to you. That's why I was on there, but we've talked before.
I love her. She's my
She
girlfriend.
is sweet.
Yeah.
This is my podcast. I'd love to have you on as a guest, but if you just want to listen.
Thank
And,
you.
and then Demi in football.
All right. Hey, I'm interviewing him.
Anything you want.
Can I have this?
That is for you.
Let's see.
It's very cool. So I'll ask you a quick question. What do you think of New Orleans? How many times have you been on? What have you done in New Orleans that you can say on video?
I've probably been to New Orleans since 1979. I actually opened up a detox clinic here. And God, for Western Pacific MedCorp, we opened up and worked a lot. I worked here for 9 months, and then I've been here about 8 times. And I love New Orleans. I mean, I was almost heartbroken when Katrina hit, and then we tried to send money, do whatever we could do, and we ended up with some animals in LA from Katrina. And God, I can't remember. Oh, Pitbulls and Parolees saved a whole lot of them.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, God. We love you guys. Bull and Parolees.
Totally.
And then actually Linda Blair, she got some too, from Katrina. So it's just been it's a beautiful city,
Yes, sir. It gets in your soul.
Oh yeah,
We are unique. When Pitbulls and Parolees moved here, I worked the street fair with my friend. I was in the booth, and I was the caller. I was like, "Hey, come try this gumbo." Hey, so I get in people's face like that.
They're like the most. People don't understand. If you see a mean pit bull, look at the owner. Because it takes the personality.
Yes.
If you're beautiful, you have a dog that'll let kids eat out of their bowl. I mean, it's like, they're unreal. I knew, I got two. And my little Chihuahua is the one that takes their food.
Yeah. I had a Great Dane and a little dog. She used to scare it too.
You know what I'm saying? So I love them.
It's
I
very
love dogs. I love animals, and we rescue them.
Excellent. Danny, I appreciate your time. I know you got a lot to do.
God bless you.
I hope to have you on, but at least listen. That is your football.
All right.
William Sadler's been on there. Stephanie Hodge from the 80s? She was a stand-up, and she did Nurses and Unhappily Ever After. I made friends with her. We laugh so much. We make each other. My co-host, his ribs hurt at the end of the episode.
God
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Bye, folks.